Alec,
Yes.
we just finished season 2 of Black Mirror. We're here to talk about the whole season. All
Yeah.
right, wrap it up.
Yeah. Let's do this. Let's get it. It's quite a season. Interesting season.
I feel like there's kind of like we've run the gamut on the seasons. Like we got lows and really highs and everything in between here. So we have
Pretty much, honestly, pretty much, yeah.
we have 4 episodes altogether. We got Be Right Back, The Waldo Moment, White Bear, and White Christmas. So like for me, White Christmas is one of the best Black Mirror episodes, and The Waldo Moment is one of the worst. So
yeah, I know. That was what I was gonna say. White Christmas was excellent. A really good kind of like. It felt like 3 short stories. I mean, it felt very like anthology sort of, but all framed in this one overarching meta narrative. I use big words.
mm-hmm.
That worked extremely well. Everything tied together really brilliantly, and the writing in that was just awesome. Like they did such a good job with tying everything together. It was great. The Waldo Moment is the opposite of that, where it felt very underdeveloped and had some interesting ideas, but just none of them really came together, and the script is kind of blah in that one.
There's some good moments, like the panel thing, and like the idea of like the disenfranchised, the not saying I'm more real than a politician. So I'm like,
yeah.
But even though that's not really what the concept is about, it's mostly focused on Jamie's struggle with not really wanting to stand for anything, and is becoming a political thing.
Yeah.
Him like losing control of it basically.
And losing control of his life, and then.
But I mean,
it's just like all his relationships were just sort of, there was an underdevelopment in terms of all that. So.
The Waldo Moment, the biggest thing it does is it like kind of almost predicts a similar thing that happened in our election.
Yeah.
Just in a roundabout way. Also, I saw an article when I was looking around. There was an article that said like Black Mirror accurately predicts an iPhone X feature when it showed Waldo. Because I guess because they have the Animoji thing now, right? So it's kind of like Waldo, but
okay.
Because they had the app where it was like, "Hey, look at me, I'm Waldo," and like it would move with your mouth.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like an iPhone feature they have now, but
yeah, I don't know if that would be like they predict that. It's like that feels like it would be an inevitability, So especially with like
for you to say in 2022.
Well, with face capturing technology and like all that sort of stuff, like VTubers existing, that that's all makes sense that you would have technology where you could make something that's static come to life, So
we got White Christmas at the top and the Waldo Moment at the bottom. I think Be Right Back and White Bear somewhere around the middle.
Yes.
I'm still not entirely sure like
what your thoughts are on those.
Where I would place them. Did we have a ranking going on? Weren't we doing that?
I think we were in first season. I think we.
So we can keep it going for season 2 then.
We can, yeah.
Because there was 3 episodes of the first season. I think we just had it was backwards order, right? So it was the entire history of you.
Yeah.
15 Million Merits, the national anthem.
Yeah.
We can try to fit these in there now.
Well, Waldo Moment is even underneath national anthem for me.
So Waldo Moment at the bottom of all of them.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
National Anthem is like a weird outlier, but
it's an outlier and that doesn't really focus on a piece of technology
But it is an interesting like near future kind of. It is showing like media's sort of influence on people in a way, and I think that is especially prescient now. Talking about predicting the future, I think like media influence on people is like I think that's a conversation that people don't talk about enough, to be perfectly honest. But
it's tough for me. I think it's close for me. Like I feel like in editing, watching a reaction, there was like a little more appreciated from this episode, because we were actually having fun with the few parts of it. But National Anthem is more like striking. It's like wow, the wow factor, and it's being the first Black Mirror episode to be that concept too. But yeah, we'll put it at the bottom too. So where would you put? Would you put White Christmas? Would you say that's your favorite Black Mirror episode, or would you put it somewhere else?
I think so. I think I would say so. It's I think the entire history review is really good in a lot of ways, but I think I would put White Christmas up probably at the top currently. Just weaving the narrative in the way it did was just brilliant. I mean, I love the fact that all three of the stories sort of converged really together. And I think that just worked super well for me.
The only thing I don't like is the crime or the punishment. His punishment being that he's blocked by everyone forever. So maybe that's more of a criticism of their justice system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that just is. Well, yeah, that's stupid and doesn't make sense. But that episode is really good. Entire history review, I still have pretty good positive things to say about that, just because of how well it tackled like that whole the concept of the technology, how it can be used for interesting ideas, but it's like also like the seedy, gross underbelly of it all, and
right.
Yeah.
So I think this ranking is actually easy for me. You tell me if you disagree or not. But yeah, I would say White Christmas, The Entire History of You, 15 Million Merits, Be Right Back, White Bear, The National Anthem, The Waldo Moment.
I think I'm exactly in the same position as you. 15 Million Merits is another great episode. It's like the slow build up to that final cathartic like rant at the end.
Yeah.
That's also like then heartbreaking because it ends up not doing anything. Like it's so good. It's such a good episode. I don't want to discount Be Right Back. There's a lot of really I honestly that's like when we watched White Bear and then the Waldo Moment, I was like, is this going to be like our shining beacon of the whole season? Like, to me, it handled the weirdness of that technology, the kind of the going to like the extreme of like, well, wouldn't you like it? Wouldn't you like just like one more day with him? Kind of like that kind of idea of like wishing that a dead loved one would, even just to talk to him for a little bit, and then how that snowballs out of control into like, I want more, until it like it really consumes her to the point where it's just such a weird, creepy. I almost felt like the ending is like too bizarre and creepy because it's like she's trapped herself in this whole world, in that little world where she still needs him, but also keeps him locked up with the memories. And it's an interesting idea. I like a lot of things about it. It's like one of the most like Twilight Zone feeling episodes as well, which is interesting to say for a show that already feels very much like Twilight Zone. White Bear is that way too, in the sense that it feels very much like a Twilight Zone concept, but
but see, White Bear is like White Bear is like wide scale, like it's a national, like very very known about event. But like Be Right Back. That's why I think Be Right Back, The Entire History of You, like these ones work really well because like it focuses on like an intimate story, utilizing technology, the new technology in that way, and it's like you can see how it really directly has an impact on this specific group of people or person.
I think that's why it works so well, because exactly what you're saying. Yeah, the intimacy of the interpersonal sort of dynamics and what this does to the individual, how it kind of affects their friends and them, and having it be a little, I would say like grounded to a certain degree, I guess you could say, just in the sense that it's maybe not grounded is not the right word, but it is very focused, I guess.
But when we move it out to a wider scale, like White Bear, where it's like that's when I get into the thing of like, how could this ever even happen? Because I can imagine people would be outraged by it. And
Yeah.
then you go to like the national anthem, where it's like
It's like
the response to this was like seems insane.
it seems like maybe too uniform in terms of its response, where it's like, oh yeah, everyone, and like everyone just sits and watches it still. It's like,
and the Waldo moment is like all of Twitter loves Waldo. It's like it's just like these big things.
Yeah, it's like it feels very like, yeah, mass appeal is like, it's a hard thing to like. I think it can be a hard thing to depict and make it feel realistic, because it's like there's always going to be dissenters with a certain thing, but it's like it makes it feel like, these episodes make it feel like no, there's no dissenters, like the everybody's for it, and it's just, it feels like weird. Because of how everyone has the exact same, like, yes, I agree with this because of this. Yes, it feels, it's too like it's too much like everyone, it's a monolith. The mass audience is a monolith, where it's like everyone thinks this, and it's like, it feels weird, because like it's hard to depict layers.
It's oversimplifying, yeah, like how complex it would probably be.
It is a little oversimplified for the sake, I guess, for the sake of the story. But
I mean, the fact that White Bear, like that national park, could even function just seems like beyond me. That something like that could exist without like constant like rioting and just backlash.
Yeah, and how is it going to keep the public's interest for longer than like even 6 months?
But also some semblance of morality. So, like, I know people have lost their way, might have lost their way a little bit here, but I would like to think that there's just some semblance of morality that would stop this from happening. But so I think the rankings right now are pretty easy to establish. I think it'll get infinitely harder in these next 2 seasons. I think the next 2 seasons are the best. And
I was gonna say, if the quality of the episodes continues to go on the trajectory we left off on with White Christmas, I think that it's gonna get really hard to kind of like pick and choose.
Because right now I think we have a clear like top tier. It's like White Christmas, Entire History of You, 15 Million Merits, and then it's like you drop down. It's like a mid tier, Be Right Back, White Bear, and then you drop down to the bottom tier, National Anthem and Waldo Moment.
Yeah,
but there'll be a lot more like nuance to when you get all these later ones. Because I think there's a lot of great ones to get into, especially next season. And there's also like 6 episodes the next 2 seasons, I think. So there'll be a lot more to unpack. But overall, season 2, we've already established we've got things all across the spectrum here. So how do you feel about season 2 overall? And in comparison to season 1, how would you compare?
Overall, without the Christmas special, I would have been like, ooh, I don't know. They've Trouble in Paradise here, but I would say it's still interesting enough to be like, I would watch another season of that. But I'm glad that White Christmas is there, because I think that sort of, to me, rescues the kind of temperament overall of the season, the kind of, like I said, the trajectory moving forward. Because now it's like, with leaving off on that note rather than like the Waldo moment, much better.
It's much more fascinating, that technology too. To me, it's like, ooh, that's a really cool idea for like to actually take someone's consciousness, and there's a lot of things you could do with that. Yeah, and with how they worked it in there. And
they did it so well that it was so subtle that like you kind of didn't pick up on it until it was starting to get towards the end of the episode, where then it was like, wait a minute, this almost feels like a police interrogation. That's weird. And then like especially when he's asking very like leading questions, and then what happened? Then what happened? And it was like, okay, this is feeling like a procedural kind of, and yeah, it was good. I think with that being the last episode, like it has really a good sort of good feeling in terms of moving forward. Yeah, I would say spotty, but you know what science fiction show that doesn't have some of that? Twilight Zone. There are some episodes that are really bad in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, But I'd say spotty, but at the same time, we got something out of all of them, and at least there's discussion to get out of all of them too. It gets you thinking.
Fertile ground for discussion. There's no episode where I was like, I hated it. There was just episodes like, well, that wasn't all that good.
And we were enjoying stuff, and even in the Waldo moment, like having some good laughs.
Yeah. Even if it was partially at the expense of the show itself, being like,
hey, Monroe.
Thinking Monroe. About like how would this ever take off? Like no one would. But yeah, I don't know.
So what score would you give season 2 out of 10?
That's tough.
I mean, higher or lower than season 1? See,
what did we give season 1? I don't even remember.
I think you gave it an 8. I gave it an 8.5.
This is like, I would say without White Christmas, probably would go down to maybe 7 or 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
I think with White Christmas, this is like an 8.5. Like that's how much I enjoyed it. Like that's how good that episode was. I think it's around there. It's kind of, to a degree, it's almost on par. But I think that the elevation of White Christmas sort of stepping up the game, in terms of like I said, weaving a narrative, it does such a good job of that. I think that, and it was like a little longer. It was a little longer episode. It was kept you attention the whole time. It was great. Yeah, I mean that puts it out. I'd say probably like 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah.
I would say 8.5 also.
Yeah.
It's definitely not enough to push it up to a 9 because I was already at 8.5 before.
No. Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's lower. I would consider it being lower overall, but I think that episode is strong enough to even that out. So
yeah,
it's pretty much the same for me.
Yeah, that's kind of my thinking because
but it's a gradual rise, and then I think, I mean, I've been saying this, but I think season 3, season 4 are better. They're clearly better in my mind from what I remember. At least.
Yeah. I really hope so. I'm looking forward to it. This has been great. A nice little breather in between Survivor. I kind of like that we get to do a little different, you know.
Yeah, if you're new to the channel, this is how we're doing it. Is we traditionally watch Survivor seasons every week, and so we decided one time once we finished the season that we would mix in a season of Black Mirror. And now we're basically alternating, so we'll do a season of Survivor. So it's a significant break until the next season of Black Mirror, but luckily it's like an anthology series, so you don't need to be completely fresh on everything that's going on.
Yeah, and to me, one of the reasons that I really like doing this is because like Survivor's great, don't get me wrong, but like it both builds the anticipation for like the next thing that we get to do. But this is also like Black Mirror itself is just like fertile ground for us to talk about like interesting morality concepts and things. You know, it's like ideas of technology, of like sort of philosophical kind of points of view, social problems. I mean, I think it's really it's a nice change of pace for the stuff that we're normally doing, which is I welcome it. It's a good thing to do.
You already covered a wide breadth of discussions, and my favorite episodes are still yet to come. So there's a lot there. I mean, White Christmas still is like probably really high up there, you know. So I wouldn't expect everything to be that level, but
oh no, I know there's one episode much later on that like. I don't even pay attention to people talking about this, but I know there's one episode that's like people are like, that episode sucks, and I was like, I don't even know anything.
I think that's the worst episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah, but we'll get to that eventually.
We can do that. Maybe looking at it with a critical eye. Maybe I'll appreciate it more.
Maybe we'll love it. Maybe we'll come out and be like, it's not that bad, guys.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. The best of both worlds at the end of the day. So that's it. All right. Yeah. So we'll see you in a few months.
Thanks for watching. If you had any thoughts or anything to add in terms of the discussion, maybe you disagreed with maybe you disagree with our ranking. Maybe you have a different sort of perspective on these episodes. There's a Google Doc link in the description below. Click on that. you can fill out the form. You might be featured on a future episode where we read through some of these sort of things. Please do. We'd love the feedback regardless, even if we don't read it. Even if we don't talk about it on the show, we were going to read every single one. So yeah.
Yeah. So, and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, click all the links in the description for our social media. All right. I'll see you next time. Okay.